Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a trading card game. With so many decks to choose from, players have lots of choices. From structure decks to constructing your own decks, players try to take their deck to the top. With so many options, how do you decide? In this series, we shall be starting from 3 of the Fire King structure decks that give a powerful fire-based archetype that has lots of destructive capabilities. With a sole budget of $15 a week, we shall be showing players that it's possible to build a competitive deck to stand up at the top of the meta events. Follow me through this journey as we construct a deck to burn our way to victory, because this is Living Like Fire Kings. So we end up getting $14.81, which is a really good price. We're at 20 cents under the budget. We are only picking up 2 Farajits and Ancient Warrior Oath, Double Dragon Lords, which is important. I wanted to pick this up because we saw with Bonfire being dropped yesterday. A lot of the cards are going to be going up in price, I feel like, and players are going to be seeing like, oh, well, you know, we haven't had any of, if we can't afford Bonfire, so we definitely aren't going to be affording Populous. Therefore, I think that this stuff's going to be rising a little bit. And then, of course, I don't want to be caught lacking. And then we see us getting a Rampage. This is just for the Tri-Brigade package, you know, wanting to be able to set up a Revolt. We couldn't fit in the rest of the stuff, but that's going to be next week. But we're going to see in the deck profile and see you then. As you guys can see, nothing has changed this week. We are picking up more of the Tri-Brigade stuff, so you guys will be seeing a change the following week. We're going to be only needing a few more cards, as you guys can see. But yeah, it's pretty nice. We have a bunch of like hand traps. We're still on the 10 hand traps, which is really nice. I do want to cut down the Barong and the Ring Bali, but for now we're going to be seeing how it goes. I really do like this list. It's really clean. I'm not really missing anything out. I know that the Arvada can be replaced, but if you put in like Tenki, and then like, you know, gets your search for Ring Bali and your Arvada, doesn't do very much. But when we get the copies of Fractal, we're definitely going to be swapping up those ratios. So we'll see you guys in that. So the same extra deck as before. Nothing's changed, of course. We haven't gotten any new toys to play with. We could potentially swap out one of these cards. Like we could potentially go for like a Farajit over this. Most of the time, we're never going to be making the Farajit on without the Tri-Brigade stuff, but like still, not much to say with this as well. Gruid has come up a lot, which I really am glad about, and I'm excited to like that we have a full extra deck. Then for the side deck, we still have the 3 Nibirus, the 3 Drolls. We're going first package, and then of course our destruction cards, as well as the 2 Super Polys. Still not much to say. You know, this is not a big part of the stuff. You know, we could replace a Skyburn for a copy of Cosmic still. We are most likely be doing that during the next duel here. So like next episode, we'll probably be swapping it up, leaving 1 Skyburn, 2 Cosmics. This will be gone away. We'll have a bunch of other cards we can side in. Looking to get more copies of Crow as well, because it has an amazing synergy with the Tri-Brigade stuff. I'm really excited for that, but of course, you know, as life happens, which is like kind of the purpose of this series, you know, we're only putting a budget of $15 a week, so we don't have enough for this week. But, you know, once we save up for the next week, we'll be able to be in full swing and getting our Tri-Brigade on. Anyways, that's it for the deck profile. Hope you guys enjoy. We'll see you in the duel. So we're here in round 1. We're playing against Jason. He is on Sword Soul here. We are going first. We're going to start off with a Sanctuary. It's going to let us place on the island here, and then we get to destroy a card from our hand. We are destroying a copy of the Kieran. We unfortunately don't have anything to destroy, but we will be able to summon out the Garunix, and then we can activate the Garunix effect here. We can destroy a copy of Arvada if we want to summon back out the Kieran as well, to go for a Synchro, or not Synchro, but an XYZ later during our opponent's turn. But we're going to go for a copy of the Barong instead. That's going to let us search, as well as setting an additional card here. Then we're going to go Standby Phase, adding the copy of a Kieran here. So we might have another Fire in the hand, or we have a Skyburn, which can destroy the copy of Garunix. But we are going to be seeing them activate a Desires here, banishing 10 from the top of their deck. This card is quite good. We do hit it with an Ash with Swiftness. You know, definitely do not want to, but they have the Call by the Grave for that instead. But we get to smash down a Bell. Unfortunately, we are losing 2 hand traps here to this +2. But at the same time, they end up going -2 on it, plus losing a card from their deck, which is really nice from them. You know, putting them down to 4 cards compared to our copies. I think we have 3. Or yeah, we have only 1 card in hand, but we have a Face Down here, which I think is a Skyburn, if I recall correctly. We're going to see them special summon out the Ashna, looking like their hand's not that good, having a bunch of spells in the hand. And we actually have a Call of the Grave instead here. And they just scoop it up there, realizing it's going to be too much. I mean, to be honest, all we had was the Kieran, We kind of got lucky there. They had a whole bunch of spells that weren't going to do anything for them. But, we would have been really not able to do much, destroying the Garunics. And I suppose then if they can't get rid of the Kieran, we have to destroy the Kieran with the copy of the field spell. And then we have to go majorly plus there. So, searching for a copy of the Ponix. But we do take game 1, which we are quite happy about. Definitely do not want to not take any of those. Taking as many game 1s as possible is quite nice. We're doing quite good with the series. Only having that $15 every single week. We are quite lucky, being at locals and having this luck. You guys can go to a locals and have not the same luck at all, which is kind of important. Which is why I didn't want to add the local prizing to this tournament. There's a lot of talk about bonfires and then Wanted Engine right now being so expensive and throughout the community. And I just really wanted to make sure that you guys know when you guys are watching that not everyone has to pay these prices. Yes, of course, I have the Wanted Engines myself, but I do understand that people cannot afford to play, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to play the deck that you guys want to play. Obviously, you can have some kind of success. It's not going to be the most successful, 100% type deck, which I obviously don't agree with. I wish that everyone could have the cards that they need, but that's just not the reality of life, unfortunately. But we're going to be seeing our opponent going to be choosing to go first here. Normal summoning out an Ecclesia. That can tag out for a copy of the Moyi. Moyi can then activate its effects, revealing another copy of Moyi, which tells me that they do not have another worm in the hand there. So it's going to go through here, summoning out the token. They're going to go for a copy of the Chijao. We're going to get that draw as well as a search here. Then we're going to see them search for a Longyong. Longyong is going to be pitching the copy of Vishuda there, so I can assume that they end up drawing into the Vishuda. And then we're going to be seeing them summon out the token, and we do hit them down with a Nibiru in defense position there. Quite nice, making sure they don't get that Barone. But they're going to have talents to look at our hand here. And we have a Kieran, Arvada, 1-for-1, and Skyburn. So we could have chained the Kieran there, but that would have just destroyed the Arvada, summoned himself out. Not going to do very much. And then, of course, 1-for-1 is quite good as well. If we keep the cards and we don't destroy anything here, destroying the Arvada is not going to do very much. But we do get to keep having multiple copies, Depending on what we draw for turn now, we will have potentially the Arvada live, as well as we can go for the 1-for-1 if needed. Many choices for us here. They do set 2 additional cards and pass on this. They're going to cut the deck. We're going to draw for turn here. And then in the draw phase, we see an anti-spell. And, yeah, this is problematic. We do have Skyburn in the hand. Can't really do very much with that. We do also have 1-for-1. Also can't really do very much for that. But even if we got to anything, having to deal with the anti-spell is quite brutal, especially when you have, Fire King Island that you want to be able to activate and start playing your plays. We're going to see the Arvada being normal summon, and then we're going to set 3 cards here, so drawing into a spell and passing turn on this. We can't activate the Skyburn here, which is important to note. A lot of people are like, oh, you can just Skyburn. Now you have to wait a full turn for the anti-spell. So take a second to read the copy of Arvada. It is a weirdly shaped card. It says negate, and then if you do destroy a card, so you find a way to destroy it, then it won't destroy the card, which is really weird. But he can beat over it quite easily and not have to worry about it. There could be a world where we actually just don't even summon the Arvada. We keep it in hand, and then we just normal summon it afterwards, and have the Skyburn set up. But we're going to see the Vishuda is going to activate its effects here, bouncing one of the cards in the back row. And we do see him bounce the Skyburn there, but we know we can't make an expression, definitely not letting them know what they hit. We're going to see the Nib token end up attacking over the copy of the Arvada, and then passing turn on this, we are going to activate a copy of Sanctuary here. And I believe we ask, because it says the word place, it doesn't say activate, therefore we can put it down. I mean, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section down below, but if it was activate, or you can activate, you cannot use Metaverse under anti-spell, but if you can flip up the Sanctuary, you can place the copy of Island, and we're going to see the Island going to be destroying the Ash, searching for Garunix, going to summon itself out, activating his effects here, and they're going to hit it with an Imperm there, because if they don't, we just destroy a copy of Kieran, and then we can destroy that copy of Anti-Spell. But we are going to be trying to find a way to deal with this. We can go into the Hita. Hita can then take their copy of the Longyang here. We're going to go Battle Phase, attack into the Nib token. We're going to take some damage, which is going to be fine because then we can't get to activate the effect of Hita. That's going to let us search for a copy of the Kieran here, or potentially a Ponix, depending on what we need. But that's kind of the reason why we're still playing it. The Hita's actually crazy. I was thinking about the Triad build that I was testing out, but we're still playing it next week as well, I guess. Spoiler alert. But we're going to search for the copy of the Kieran here. And Kieran can actually destroy the Longyang if we need to as well. We're going to be passing turn on this. But we do have a Sanctuary there. Once we do pop the Longyang, we can then summon out the Garunix from the graveyard, and then if they summon out another monster, we can just go for the copy of the big Garunix, which is going to be destroying a card. But we're seeing them attempt to go Battle Phase, and then we're going to activate the effect in the main phase, still summoning out the Kieran, and then we're going to be seeing the Garunix. We're just checking if we can activate the Garunix because it did not hit our graveyard, but it just says if a fire monster is destroyed. If your fire monster is destroyed, which it was at the time, therefore we're going to summon himself out. Then we can activate the effect, destroying a Kieran from the deck. Then we're going to summon out the Arvada, and we're going to be destroying the Nib token there, making sure they cannot attack over the Arvada. And of course, if they do summon out any more, we can then just go into the Sanctuary. And then if they don't, like we see them passing turn on this, we could just go for the copy of the big Garunix there, and we could have done our little tag out, but we're going to be seeing us instead just choose to pop 3, and we hit all 3 anti-spells there, and we know the last card in hand is the Moe. Then we're going to be seeing the Kieran going to act, or the copy of the Arvada as well as the Kieran's going to activate its effects, summoning itself out. And then we're going to activate a 1-for-1, sending the Ponix. Ponix is then going to be able to search for a circle, and this is OTK, which is pretty nice. We still have the Island there. Having triple copies of Anti-Spell definitely did not do it for them, but we do see us taking the game. Kind of unfortunate for Sword Soul. We end up taking it 2-0 here, but moving on to the next one. So here we're going up against Labyrinth, which we do actually have a good matchup for. We're going up against Usman. Shouts to Usman, big fan of the channel, always here for us, always writing first in the comment section. So we do see you here. He is learning the deck, which is very nice. So if we see any misplays, we'll definitely point that out. Labyrinth is a little bit of a difficult deck to sometimes operate. Not being able to pick up those copies of Transition Rollback just yet there. We are going to be seeing a die roll here. And I believe we end up winning the die roll, which is going to be kind of good for us. So we're going to be diving on in here with us going first. And we are going to be seeing them, or us activate a Prosperity here, banishing 6 cards. We do have the Ghost Spells and the Ashes in the hand, and this is for one of the matchups. We did see in game 1 we were able to Ash, and then of course they had to Call by the Grave. We did Bell that. That does not happen. That is not why we're playing that. It just happened to be a double combo there. But we're going to be banishing, I believe, 6. And then we end up seeing 6. We do see the Nadir Servant as well. Unfortunately, we won't be able to draw off that Garua that we send off the Nadir Servant, but it still can serve its purpose by letting us search for that copy of Ponix. We're just not getting that additional little niceness. We're going to see us activate then we're going to then see the activation of the Nadir. They are thinking about maybe ashing this, but they're sending the Garua. And then we're going to be searching for a copy of the Maximus. They're going to take a second to read it. They do have the Imperm in the hand, which is very important. We're going to then summon it out. He's going to hit us with the Imperm here, which is very nice. We're going to set a card and pass. They are going to be activating the Lady here to summon herself out, which is quite nice. And then we're going to see the RES activate, being able to set the big welcome. It's going to activate its effects, and then we're going to be hitting it with a Bell itself. Leaving them on 2 cards here. And we do have a set, which is quite problematic. But, if they don't have enough, sometimes they put a lot into that big welcome. Like, they could have chained the copy of Arias to summon itself out, which I do forget. But then we're going to go Ariana, activate the effect, hitting it with Ash Blossom here. And once again, they do forget to chain the Arias in the graveyard, which is important. They would have been able to make a Chaos Angel with that and being able to banish the copy of the, whatever they really want. And then we're going to see them banish the big welcome here, attempting to bounce back. Can be bouncing back the back row. Could also be bouncing back the Maximus here. If we don't have another monster or another XYZ or extra deck material to get into the graveyard, Maximus will be kind of hard. But they're going to be bouncing back the back row because it's not going to be difficult for them. And they do realize, I should have gone for the Chaos Angel line. They also thought that they could activate the Ariana effect twice. Having the able to search as well as draw and set or summon out. But they did not, which kind of makes me want to believe that they have a copy of Arias in the hand. And they're going to be passing on this. We do draw for turn here. But if they would have been activating the Arias to summon himself out, we would have been absolutely cooked by the Chaos Angel. We're in this normal summon a Ponix here, activating the effect, searching for the Sanctuary, activate Sanctuary, placing the island onto the field here. Island can then destroy the Ponix. Search for the Garunix. Garunix can then summon himself out. Garunix effect is going to activate here, sending a copy of the Kieran potentially. We kind of do want to be able to get rid of the Ariana as well as the Lady while we can. They're going to see Kieran's going to activate its effect, summoning out the Ponix, destroying the copy of Lady here. And then he realizes, Ariana, or Arias. Yeah, we definitely should have remembered that. We're going to turn into an attack position here. And so this is important to note. We're not activating Maximus for the second time because we know that they play multiple copies of Entis, or they play copies of, some of the Chimera cards. So definitely we're not wanting to have any advantage there. We'd rather just be able to beat over. We already have the Ponix in our hand. And whereas I know his build a little bit better than others, game 1, turn 0, we would have activated the Maximus there. Trying to be as reasonable as possible when you're playing a duel, especially if you have to go for the Ponix. If they are sending an Entis, Entis is going to be popping the Maximus, which already has served its purpose. And then we're going to be going for battle phase here. And then we're going to go Circle. Once again, Circle being an amazing card for an OTK. We unfortunately don't have enough. I think we're 200 off, but it's close. We're going to be passing on this, and they're back to 2 cards in the hand. Standby phase, Ponix, add back. And if they special summon, we get to nuke the board here. So we're going to activate a Storby Torby, sending the copy of Blackjack. So maybe that's what they were trying to hope for last turn. They could have activated the Storby Torby to summon itself, or they could have activated the Ariana, summon out the Storby Torby, and then they would have been able to make a Chaos Angel even after they forgot that they had, the Arias in the graveyard there. But we're going to see them set a big welcome and then pass. We're going to normal summon out the Ponix here, and they have a big welcome, and that's it. And I believe we have a Bell in the hand. We're going to search for a Skyburn. We've already went through our circle, as well as the Sanctuary and the Island on the field here. And the game is essentially over at this point. No matter what they do, Big Welcome is not going to save them. We definitely can chain to go for it. We're going to go for a Sunlight Wolf here. And then we can activate the effect of the Island, destroying the Kieran, which can then summon out the Garunish from the graveyard, as well as a Kieran effect. So we're going to be activating the Kieran, or we're going to be destroying the Kieran with the Island here, like we just described. That's going to let us search for potentially another copy of the Kieran. Searching for the Arvada here. Okay. I suppose that the Arvada can. So we're going to go Kieran 1, Garunix 2 here. They have to chain the copy of the Trap to this. And then we do have the Bell. They're going to chain the effect of Arias here. It's not going to make a difference because then we're going to be summoning out and destroying. Then we're going to summon out the Garunix, and then Garunix effect is going to activate, and that's just going to be game. They're going to be chaining the effect of Blackjack there, and then we get to negate with the Arvada, and time to pack it up and move on to game 2, where we're going to be seeing the Labyrinth deck going to be choosing to go first, maybe having a little bit of a better hand or remembering those card effects. You get extremely punished if you do not remember your lab cards, unfortunately. A little bit less with rollback, having, if you have your furnitures, being able to discard, that copy of rollback, and then having it be able to, multiply the effects of Big Welcome. Having double Big Welcome a turn is absolutely huge. It also lets you able to, to activate the Big Welcome effect and not always have to reset it with the Lovely, which is really nice. It just changes kind of how Labyrinth's played, or doesn't necessarily change the standard Labyrinth plays, but it also gives you a wider range of what you can do with the deck, which is obviously very nice. We are diving on in here with them going to be choosing to go first, and the Labyrinth going to be going first here. Of course, a Trap deck. We're going to see the Ariana being normal summoned, activating its effect. It's going to let us search for any welcome card, or any, I should say, Labyrinth card here. And we're going to be seeing them search for a copy of the Arias. So having potentially a Trap card they want to activate here. We're going to see the Arias can activate its effects. That's going to let them set a Trap. Being a Big Welcome, they're going to activate the Big Welcome. We are going to be belling it. Then the Arias can summon herself out, which can make a Chaos Angel. But not that many other cards. So they're going to be setting 2 cards here and passing on this. Then they're going to activate Different Dimensions Ground. That's going to make it so all of our monsters go to the graveyard with this turn, which is kind of important, to be honest. But we do have a Prosperity. You won't be able to do the regular Fire King plays with a Barong or a copy of Kieran, which is important. But we will still have other stuff that we can activate, which you are going to be seeing us activate a Prosperity. And then we get to see 2 Arvadas, a copy of Ponix, and then a Bell. Is there a world where we just play defensively and take the Bell? I guess it really matters what our hand is. Is it between Ponx and Sanctuary? We could take the Ponx and then get a copy of Skyburn. So we're going to be adding the Ponx here. That's going to let us potentially normal summon it out, or even special summon out if a monster is destroyed. We're going to normal summon it, activate the effect, searching for a Sanctuary here. activating Sanctuary. That's going to put the island on the field. I hope we get in like Ultra Island or a Super Island. It would be really nice to see the card being in a high rarity. And we already have the Skyburn here. We're going to target the Ponks as well as the back row, I think, and they're going to be chaining it. It looks like it's just Dogmatika Punishment. Which are going to see them. They're not going to chain it because they can't hit anything to the graveyard. So then it's going to be destroying the Ponks. So we can activate the Ring Bally to summon itself out, which is going to be a form of negate, which is really nice. But I believe it actually is big enough. We're going to see then Sanctuary destroy the Ring Bally, searching for the Garunix. Garunix can then activate its effects here. But are we going to like activate and essentially lose the Kieran here? No, we're choosing just to not. Then we're going to go Battle Phase, attack over the Ariana here. Setting and passing. We couldn't attack over the Arias, which would have made that no longer be there. Having it's no longer engraved is quite beneficial for us, but they are on low cards. Like, that's the good thing about Lab, is if they just don't have the resources, or like if you just keep finding ways to get rid of those big welcomes, there's no way for them to really get that advantage to keep rolling. They're going to pass turn on this. We then can activate a 1-for-1 here, sending the copy of the Garunix. Very powerful. Going to get Ponks. Ponks can then search for a potentially second Skyburn or a Circle here. Circle putting in the work this game for sure, or this episode for sure. And then we're going to see this hitting with a Droll and Lockbird. So having the furniture build as well as still playing those hand traps. We did see the Blackjacks in the main deck prior to that. But we can then also destroy the Ponks to search for a Kieran, and then that's going to be able to summon out the Garunix. But we are in the Droll, so we can't really destroy. We have to find another way to get rid of that. People say like Droll doesn't really hurt the deck. I think it does, but at the same time, we're going to be seeing us go for a normal summon Barong, and then we're going to be going for a Helio. We're going to go Battle Phase, attack, and then Helio attack here. Then we can activate the copy of the Circle. That's going to go for the summoning of the Barong, and then Garunix can activate its effects. We get to add back the copy of Ponks. Then we're going to be destroying the Kieran here. Kieran can then summon out the copy of Garunix, and I believe this is going to be game here. And that's just going to be it. But moving on to game 3, we're going to go up against Speedroids. As we saw there playing, Circle is really putting in the work, taking the kills this episode. But we are going to be circling back into a match number 3. I know a lot of the times I don't show off a match 3, but I wanted to do it this time because, we have time. Definitely there's not going to be that much. We could stop the episode now and it'll only be like 28 minutes long. Definitely not really fair to you guys. We only really 2-0'd each opponent here, so we are going to be diving on into match 3, I should say. So we're doing another high roll. We do get a 10, and then our opponent gets a 6. We have to end up choosing who's going to go first. Someone asked in the other where do you get the tokens. I actually make the tokens myself. I wanted to make the Solemn tokens. I also have the Ghost Trick ones, but that's really just for the Ghost Trick mat. We're going to start off with an Adir sending the copy of Garua. Garua is then going to search for a Maximus. You guys all know how this goes. It's kind of sad that we are playing for the last time the Dogmatika stuff. Maybe we'll not in the future, but we're going to be then summoning out the Maximus, banish, and then activate the effect. We both send 2. I know he's playing Speedroid, so it doesn't really matter what he sends. I think that there's so Metal Marcher, not really important. And the second copy of the Link Monster. Then we're going to be dumping and also searching for a crow, which does indicate that we have the copy of Ponix already. We're in the normal summon Ponix, activate the effect, and this is why we chose the exact hand traps. Like, having 10 hand traps and then one being also searchable is really nice, and there is a little bit of an overlay with it being a winged beast for the copy of the Tri Brigades. But then we're going to go for the island effect, and then we're going to be destroying with the Baron, or not destroying with the Baron. We're going to be destroying the Baron with the copy of Garunix, and then we're going to be activating the effect here. Going to be searching for a Fleur-de-Lis during the end phase and passing on this. Then we go standby phase, adding back the Ponks and searching for a copy of Kieran. A nice little +3 here during before he really the main phase of his opponent's turn. Then we're going to see a unicorn being smashed down and a Kashtira monster, whether it's unicorn or Fenrir, is quite problematic. Luckily for us, the unicorn doesn't really do too much here. We're going to be activating the Skyburn, destroying the copy of unicorn, and destroying with the Garunix. And then we can activate the effect of Ponix. So it's going to search for a circle here, because I love the card so much. I want to be able to search it, and then of course we also have the Garunix or the Kieran that can still destroy it and then summon it out. We don't have Sanctuary on the field, so we can't go for a copy of the rank 8, which would have been quite good. But we do see the Marble being summoned here, and then we Ash that. Speedroids is not my best matchup. I really just know to throw every hand trap I can at it. We got rid of a unicorn. We got rid of a Marble search. Now we're trying to, Kieran on this. Summon out the Garunix on the summon. It is not a on-summon effect, so they will have to activate the effect here, which is why we kind of want to get rid of the Tacky Tomborg. And then we're going to be destroying it, summoning out the Barong. And then that's going to be destroying the Tacky Tomborg there. It is a special summon once per turn, so really trying to stop them from getting that rubber band shooter, even though we have the copy of Fleur-de-Lis in the hand. But they do scoop it up. We had an Imperm and a Droll as well. That's like 3 hand traps that are on the way, plus a Skyburn. Kind of nice, to be honest. But moving on into the game 2, Speedroids will be going first, and this deck can set up double Crystal Wing. If we don't interrupt them, I don't think we can win. I'm just looking at the deck now, and double Crystal Wing. Now, even if we open up Super Poly, we're not winning. We have to open up an interruption, but if we have Garunix, Kieran, Ponix, normal Ponix. If you have Garunix, Kieran, Skyburn, Ponix, and then another card, I guess you can beat it. But it's not going to be good. Oh yes, Imperm. Yeah, so Imperm, Kieran, Garunix, Ponix, and then Skyburn is the only way to actually kind of stop that. And I guess you don't even need the Imperm. You just go Ponix normal, activate effect. They try to negate it. You then chain your copy of Skyburn. I guess no, you kind of need the Imperm for that, but we're going to be seeing the Terratop being summoned out here. And then that's going to be searching for the copy of the Marble. Terratop being at 2 now. Hopefully in the next list, going to 3 as well. And then we're going to be seeing the Marble being normal summoned, activating the effect, because who doesn't love the search? Searching for the card Turbo here. This is an extender as well as an attack boost. Tacky Tomborg, another extender. There's a lot of wind extenders here. When will this end? We're going to see the Tacky Tomborg going for the dice. We're going into a synchro here. This is essentially a Metal Marsher, whatever his name is. But for Speedroids, instead of bringing back one of the materials, it brings back them both. And we do ask, if we do get rid of one of them, does it still summon? It does. We do get a Judge over here. I do have a Bell. It kind of indicates that we have a Crow in the hand. If I had a Bell, I would be belling this immediately. But Unfortunately, we don't, and indicating that we have the crow in the hand is kind of problematic. I think I throw it away here, when I really should have waited. Like, if they have like a double yo-yo, they just normal summon it off the second double band shooter, or rubber band shooter, and then we essentially end up, having that not be able to get its effects. But we end up shotgunning it, but at the same time, they know we have it by asking the question, so it's not that good for us. But we are waiting here for a judge. And then they do say, like, the word, because it says summon, it doesn't say summon both, it just summon it. So it's going to be able to reborn. We're going to hit the dice here, hoping that, it does affect them enough that they can't continue to play. It is their tuner. I think I forgot that another monster on the field is a tuner, I think. So I felt kind of bad about that. We're going to see the card turbo. Yeah, I definitely should have saved it for something else. We're going to see card turbo summon himself out, and then we can go for a copy of the pinball thing, and then we can go for another monster, going for the the rubber band shooter here. Then we can activate the effect to bring it back out. We can then synchro into the copy of the Crystal Wing. What a powerful monster. Being able to negate, and then also if it gains attack, be able to just, this card's crazy. Then we're going to see them activate the effect, banishing a level 7 here. And then they're going to be revealing the Duke. Or it's actually level 6. We're going to see them going for Duke and then Piper, because they know that we have. And then we actually shuffled them up. I don't really know why. We should have rolled them because we just see it randomly. But we're going to be hitting the Piper, letting them add the Duke. And Duke is really good. But Piper is just essentially a draw. It's at least a draw one. It's like excavates the top. I know a lot of times David's over here excavating the copies of Anti-Spell. And then he sets one card in the back row. And I'm like, if this is Anti-Spell, we're getting cooked. Like the last time that we end up playing. But we end up going to draw phase, nothing, standby phase, and we have officially passed the anti-spell phase. So now we have to just deal with a Crystal Wing and then whatever the back row is. And I'm going to be honest, I don't care what the back row is, it's not anti-spell. So then we're thinking here, we're like, okay, Crystal Wing is the only thing that activates. Card Turbo was not a quick effect in the graveyard. So we have to find a way to get rid of this and get rid of it quick so we can activate Argoronix and then the Kieran. We're going to then summon out the copy of Arvada, activate the Kieran, and this is an insane combo. Because if they activate the effect of Crystal Wing, we then get to just negate with the Arvada. If this was an Imperm on the other hand, though, we're getting cooked. And then we decide to destroy a copy of Barong instead here. And then we get to activate the effect of the Garunix in the hand. And we have a perfect hand to deal with this. Because if they ended up, negating it, we just negate with Arvada, destroy the Kieran. Then we can summon it out. And it's like, we are cooking. And here we activate a duplication. They banish the Taki Tomborg, trying to bounce back our copy of Arvada here. But we're still going to be able to summon out the Garunix. And that's going to actually let us go into an overlay for the big Garunix. It is at 3,000, so it can actually contest with the copy of the Speedroid, or not Speedroid, but the Clear Wing. We're going to activate Sanctuary, which is going to be putting the island onto the field here. I'm not sure 100% why we're doing this. We'll then activate the effect of Island. He hits us with an Ash Blossom, which is very fair. We get destroyed with the Arvada in the hand. And then we're like, oh, okay, well, what are we really doing here? We then overlay for a copy of the Garunix. We chose not to activate the Garunix on the field because we didn't want to get hit with a Crystal Wing. It does negate and destroys. So we destroy it, end up going battle phase instead. And then we get to summon out the copy of Garunix as well as Kieran. Then Garunix will activate its effects because now the Crystal Wing is off the field. Summon out the Kieran, summoning out there, destroying the card on the field. And this is going to be game itself. You know, that's at 39, 24, and 3,000. And we end up taking it 2-0. We are undefeated today, going 6-0 into the... this is the finals here. And we end up getting first place with the deck. I'm really happy with it. This is the final week we are playing the Dogmatika stuff. So I'm really content with how it ends up going. Regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And we might be doing a bigger deck discussion at the end of this. So I guess I'll see you guys then. And thank you for watching once again. And we'll see you in the Tri Brigades.